Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and happy Wednesday. Halfway through the work week, and we are seeing more activity across the plains for storms today. We've also got some storms out on the East Coast, so we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Dakota storms, that's what we've been talking about just over and over and over this past few weeks. So what's new there? We are watching for some hail in these areas today and some high winds. We've also got a low tornado threat here. We're also watching for a major hurricane on the horizon. So what we're watching for here is Tropical Storm Erin, which is a tropical storm right now, is likely to intensify to hurricane strength over the next 24 to 36 hours. And then we'll see that turn into a major hurricane by this weekend. Now, where is landfall? Well, we'll take a look at the models and I'll tell you where we are most likely to see landfall over the next few days and why that is. Give us just a minute and let me get my graphics set up here. There we go. Alrighty, there's your headlines for today. Let's get to your Win the Storm. Hey, are you guys headed to Win the Storm? We're talking about Win the Storm. We talked about it yesterday as well. We will be there. We've got a big booth there. Our booth is always so much fun. Now we're going to have popcorn at our booth. I think that we're in between a beer garden and something else. I can't remember. So we've got a fun booth. You absolutely have to come see us. Win the Storm is August 20th through the 22nd. So we've got about a week away from that, 2 weeks away from that right now. We've got a discount code, Hail Trace. 1 week, I think, away from that. Is that next week? Is the 20th next week? Holy moly. Wow. Okay, well, get your tickets fast then. We've got a discount code for you, Hail Trace, all capital letters, just one word, Hail Trace. And you can get a percentage off of the Win the Storm tickets. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump right into the forecast. Yesterday, it was a pretty quiet day other than the Midwest, which got some wind. So we told you guys yesterday we were having fun with our titles yesterday. We said, oh, we've got storms for the Midwest, and that's exactly what happened. We saw a few tornado warnings out there, but really wind was the overall biggest hazard that we saw across the Midwest yesterday. Other than that, most of the U.S. was quiet. We saw some flooding reports out there, and then we also saw some high wind out in New Mexico. Today, we're back up into the Dakotas. As we mentioned, it's Nebraska, South Dakota, Wyoming here, and then we've got another risk for storms off on the East Coast. Level 1 risk on the East Coast, that's mainly for wind. And then we've got that tornado, hail, and wind risk for the Dakotas. Tomorrow, we stay in the northern plains. We go up to North Dakota and Michigan there, in Minneapolis, there we go, for storms tomorrow, and then Friday back down to South Dakota. Alrighty, let's talk about what we've got going on right now, and then we'll talk about your storms in the future. Right now, we've got a little line of storms sitting over Texas, right in the central portion of Texas. We've got a line of storms that are moving across the East Coast. Now, do you see this line that's moving from Quebec all the way into Burlington, just to the west of New York and Washington? That line of storms is going to continue to track to the east and intensifying as it does so. That is what's going to cause some of those high winds that we see anywhere from Washington, D.C. to New York, all the way up to Boston later on this afternoon and evening. So it's kind of setting up right now. Got another hour or two before that really gets going. We've got a few showers and storms across the East Coast, down to the southeast. Unfortunately, we've just seen rain after rain after rain event in this area. You guys are probably sick of seeing that rain every single day. We'll talk about whenever that's going to end. And then we've also got a few showers and storms in South Dakota. That's not what we're worried about today. What we're really watching for is more development back into Wyoming, and we'll see that more on your future radar here in just a few minutes. Now, temperatures today, for most of us, are warmer than what we saw yesterday, but cooler than what we're going to see tomorrow. Yeah, temperatures are going to warm back up as we head into the work week, and we'll talk about why that's going to happen and how those warm temperatures play into our hurricane forecast. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Let's get into your hazards for today. Really, that main hail risk, that's going to be in South Dakota today. What could we see in South Dakota? We could see up to 2-inch size hailstones. So we're talking about hen egg sized hail, anywhere from Rapid City all the way to Aberdeen, South Dakota. Let's keep going here to your hail forecast. Maybe. Come on, graphics, work with me. There we go. Alrighty, taking a look at your max hail size for today. We've got hen egg sized hail. We're talking up to 2-inch size hailstones today. Where do we expect that at? Well, I think it'll be very, very isolated. Most of those hailstones will be a bit smaller, anywhere between $half to golf ball size hailstones. And again, South Dakota, that's where we're watching for the most robust storms today. So we're talking about Rapid City to Pierre, all the way into Valentine and Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The best risk here, we've got a moderate risk, a level 2 for several places, and you'll see exactly why. We've talked about why we're going to put a level 2 there whenever we talk about your future radar. Taking a look at your wind forecast today, it's a level 1. You could see strong winds, 60, 75 miles an hour. So that's the range that we're giving you today, about 60 to 75 mile per hour wind speeds. 60 mile per hour wind speed, that is your garden variety classic summertime storm. 70 mile per hour wind speeds, now that could knock over a tree. That's going to be a lot stronger, right? Okay, so that's what you've got to watch for today. Any of those storms that intensify very quickly could have those really strong wind speeds. Now, I'm not as concerned with the storms out on the East Coast. While we could see widespread strong winds out here, I don't think that those will go anywhere over 70 miles an hour. I bet that we'll stay between that 60 and 65 mile per hour wind speed. However, lots of people are going to get rain in this area, and we will see an occasional strong wind gust with that. Your tornado forecast brings us right back down to South Dakota and the northern side of Nebraska. So we're talking about Valentine, Nebraska there, Mitchell and Pierre, South Dakota. It's a level 1. It's pretty isolated today, but again, of course, something that we have to talk about. So there's your tornado forecast. Let's continue to your timeline. So today, I think that we're going to start nationwide. We're going to show you those storms nationwide. Find your city on the map. Alrighty, take a look at it. Where's your storms? When are they coming in? If you're in places like Kansas, Oklahoma, most of Texas, you're staying dry today. Okay, let's zoom down into the area that we're expecting the strongest storms. Again, we're watching for the initial convection to start off into places like Wyoming and then move to the east into places like South Dakota. So these are the storms that we're watching for right here. If one of these could get a little bit isolated, I think that that will be the best risk for large hail and high wind. Now it's 5 o'clock whenever these storms come through. By 5 o'clock, got some pretty impressive storms out there. Alrighty, let's keep on moving. By 6, 7 o'clock, we're going to see more widespread development to cover most of the state, right? And as that continues to track to the east, we're going to see some strong winds that will start to come from this Boeing line segment by the late to overnight hours. So some of this could come through whenever it's dark outside. That's definitely something to keep in mind. Let's go off to the east now. I showed you that line of storms that's forming right now, anywhere from Quebec all the way down to Washington. Now this will continue to track to the east, bringing us some strong wind gusts as we head into the evening hours. But by the time that the sun goes down, I think that those storms will be far enough off into the Atlantic, it won't be too much of a concern. One more time with this timeline here, and I was wondering, does anyone have any questions? Did we go over anything too quickly? Any cities that we want to go back to? I think we're good right now. Well, you've got a little bit of time to get your questions in. In the meantime, we're going to talk about that flooding risk, mainly down in the East Coast. I told you that over and over and over, we have seen rain in this area. Well, once again today, we've got another round of rain. If you're not already getting rain right now, you may be getting it later on this afternoon. We've got a level 2 flood risk for today, a level 1 flood risk for tomorrow, and it just seems like the rain will not stop in this area. Now you're going to be wishing for the rain here in a few days whenever you get those really warm temperatures, but we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. Why do temperatures have to do anything with the hurricane forecast? Why do temperatures in Georgia have to do anything with the hurricane forecast? Well, we'll talk about that. Let's start with, what is this tropical storm doing? What's our hurricane outlook? Tropical Storm Erin has wind speeds at 45 miles an hour right now, moving to the west at about 17 miles an hour, slowing down a little bit from what we saw yesterday. This will continue to take an almost westerly, direct westerly track as we head into the next 24 to 48 hours. Slowly shifting up to the northwest as it becomes a strong hurricane, Category 2, Category 3 hurricane by Sunday. So this weekend, we're going to see a pretty impressive intensification from Tropical Storm Erin to Hurricane Erin to Major Hurricane Erin by Sunday and Monday. So this time next week, we have a totally different story on our hands. Now, let's zoom out. Let's go to, perfect, okay. Why do temperatures matter in all of this? Well, a high pressure system out in the middle of the Atlantic is helping to guide Erin. Here's your spaghetti models. So here's Erin down in the far bottom of the screen. What the spaghetti models are showing you is that Erin is trying to really just stay on the southern side of that high pressure system. Meanwhile, if I take you back to the States, we've got a second high pressure system that's building around places like Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. This is going to bring your really hot temperatures in as we head into the end of this work week and this weekend. So why do these temperatures matter? Well, it's really less about the temperatures and it's more about that high pressure system that's going to help to push Erin off and keep it out to the east, and it's going to really struggle to come on land. Now, again, look where Erin is right now. It's strengthening into a hurricane by Friday, at least Category 1, if not maybe Category 2 at this point. But it's still way off the coast from the U.S. Well, as we continue, you're going to see that Erin is going to inch a little bit closer to the U.S. as a high pressure system builds behind it. And what that's going to do, that's going to really drive it and guide it farther up to the north. So what happens here, and I liked what Alexa said earlier. What she said are these two high pressure systems, they kind of act like magnets that don't attract. They repel. Have you ever done that whenever you try to put those magnets together and they push away from each other? These two high pressure systems, they're not going to go anywhere close to each other. They don't like each other. But you can kind of find a little wiggle room in the middle that Erin could go. And so that is going to be the path of least resistance is what Erin is trying to take right here. And that's what models are pretty much in agreement on, is that Erin is going to take that northerly path and most likely not impact the U.S. directly. However, we are, what is this, Tuesday, Wednesday at this point? We're about a week out from this, so we can't say that for sure. We cannot say 100% this will not impact the contiguous 48. We're about a week out. We can't say that. However, most models agree that most of this storm, now a major hurricane on Sunday, will most likely stay to the north of the Leeward Islands and then stay to the east of the U.S. Unfortunately, that's not great for Bermuda, which is kind of in the middle of all of this. But again, that's really, really good for the Carolinas. That's great for Georgia. That's great for Florida and the Northeast. So that's what we're looking at for Erin. Fernand would be the next on our list. Do we have an area for Fernand? I think I have it's a low chance up in the northern Atlantic. Not very impressive right there. And it's another low chance out in the Gulf. We've got a little area of very, very disorganized storms off the coast of Mexico. And it doesn't look like anything's going to come from that right now. We've got about a 10 to 20% chance for anything forming there. Taking a look at tropical climatology, we talk about this just about every day. Just kind of a reminder is that climatologically speaking, we are ramping up on our hurricane season. We are likely to get more and more and more named storms over the next few weeks. So as we head into the end of August and into September, I think it's September 11th or 12th is whenever we usually peak for hurricane activity. So what we're talking about, Erin, right now, we're likely just to continue to add to those names of storms that we'll be talking about over the next few weeks. There's your forecast for today. There's your hurricane forecast. Your forecast for tomorrow, well, we go up to the northern plains. Tomorrow we do have a pretty good tornado chance up in the northern plains. It looks pretty impressive here. We're talking about North Dakota and Minnesota here. Storms will fire. Let's see, can we go down there? Let's go down to North Dakota. There we go. Storms will fire later on in the day and then continue as we head into the evening hours. There you go. Temperatures, yeah, we talked about that heat. We talked about that high pressure system building into the southeast. So you're going to see a difference from temperatures today than this weekend. You may have some cooler temperatures in the 80s today. I walked outside a few minutes ago. It was gorgeous out there. Enjoy it while you can because it looks like temperatures are going to warm back up to the upper 90s here in the central portion of the U.S. We're talking about the plains all the way down to Texas tomorrow. A lot of us, the heat index gets over 100 tomorrow, and it stays that way for Friday as well. What about this weekend? Well, unfortunately, it looks like we have a really good chance for temperatures to be above average, not only this weekend, but also through the middle to end of August. So we're talking about August 18th through the 22nd here. Temperatures have a really good chance to be hotter than normal. So if your normal is 90 this time of the year, you have a really good chance to be hotter than that, and most likely in the mid 90s to upper 90s for some of us. Rain chances, not terribly impressive, just about normal for this time of the year, except for the west coast, which unfortunately looks like we're going to have below average rain chances, and that's going to contribute to the fire danger, which we talk about every single time, and that is usually where we end. So thanks for joining us today. Put all of your weather, excuse me, a little choked up there. Put all of your weather questions in the comments section, and we are usually pretty good about looking at those as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon. Follow us in the meantime on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We have some great pictures and videos. Excuse me, drink of water real quick. There we go. We have some great pictures and videos of the Amarillo storm on all of these platforms, so go ahead and take a look at that. And give us a call at 855-334-4245 if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map. You can always email us at info@hailtrace.com or head over to our website for more information. All right, thanks for joining us today. Christian, I see your message over here. I see your message. I'll go back and I'll comment to you about any storms in Ohio. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here for your forecast, same time, same place tomorrow.